Imagine you're in a job interview, right? And the interviewer asks, what is leadership? You answer, a general leading troops, and that's leadership. A CEO running a company, leadership. A parent guiding a child, leadership. 3 examples, and not one of them answers the question. About 2,400 years ago, a young man named Meno tried exactly this move on Socrates. It did not go well. The Meno isn't just an ancient dialogue. It launched a debate about what counts as a real definition, a debate running through Western philosophy to Wittgenstein in the 20th century. To understand why that list failed, we need to meet the teacher behind it. Meno studied under Gorgias, one of Greece's most celebrated rhetoricians. Gorgias charged enormous fees to teach young aristocrats how to win arguments in court and sway political assemblies. When people asked him about virtue, arete, the Greek word for excellence or moral goodness, he laughed at them, literally laughed. His business was making powerful speakers, not good people. Goodness, someone else's problem. His method rested on 2 pillars. First, define things by pointing to examples, what philosophers later called ostensive definition, defining by showing rather than explaining. When asked about courage, you point to a soldier standing his ground, a captain refusing to abandon ship. Second, don't investigate virtue itself, just learn to talk about it convincingly. The result? Meno had eloquence without understanding. He could speak about virtue with confidence and fluency. He memorized impressive formulations from his teacher's lectures. He could not survive a single Socratic question. When Gorgias' star pupil meets Socrates, the method collapses immediately. Meno opens the dialogue by asking whether virtue can be taught. Socrates replies that he cannot answer until they know what virtue is. Define it. Meno, well trained by Gorgias, rattles off a list. The virtue of a man is managing a city's affairs capably. The virtue of a woman is managing the household well. Then the virtue of a general, of a child, of a slave, of the elderly, each with its own distinct definition. Socrates' devastating response: I asked for one virtue, and you've given me a swarm, like a swarm of bees. Every individual bee looks different, yet they're all bees. Something makes them all bees, and that something is what Socrates wants. Gorgianic definition by enumeration fails for a precise reason. The list can never be complete, and it never identifies what the items share. Socrates doesn't just reject the list, he shows exactly what a real definition looks like, and his model is mathematics. Consider even numbers. A Gorgianic definition goes, an even number, 2, 18, 100. But integers are infinite. The list never ends. A Socratic definition states, an even number is any integer divisible by 2 with no remainder. One sentence captures every even number that exists or ever will exist. Test it. 24 divided by 2 equals 12, no remainder, even correctly included. 7 divided by 2 equals 3.5, remainder, not even, correctly excluded. This is the standard Socrates demands. A real definition must apply to every instance of the thing and to only instances of that thing. Every and only. If it misses one case or includes one non-case, it fails. The same standard works for shape. Socrates defines shape as the limit of a solid. 5 words capturing every triangle, every square, every circle, without naming any of them. Infinite particulars, one universal formula. That is genuine knowledge in Plato's framework. With this standard in hand, Socrates dismantles Meno's next attempt. Struggling now, Meno offers, virtue is the desire for good things and the power to acquire them. Socrates presses, what good things? Meno's answer, gold and silver. Note the pedestrian materialism, no mention of justice, courage, temperance, or any quality of the soul. Socrates applies the every and only test in both directions. First, the every test. Not every virtuous person acquires gold and silver. Someone living justly in honest poverty owns no gold, yet remains virtuous. The definition misses genuine instances of virtue. Second, the only test. Not everyone acquiring gold and silver is virtuous. A thief, a tyrant, a corrupt official, each acquires wealth, none through virtue. The definition captures things that are not instances of virtue. Both directions fail. Meno's definition and the thing it claims to define don't stand in one-to-one correspondence. Without that correspondence, there is no genuine understanding. Before declaring total victory for Socrates, his most formidable modern critic deserves a hearing. 24 centuries after the Meno, Ludwig Wittgenstein argued that the demand for every and only definitions might itself be unreasonable. His famous example, games, ball games, card games, word games, children's ring around the rosy. Try finding a single property all games share and only games possess. Competition, solitaire has none. Rules, children invent them on the fly. Fun, ask a professional athlete grinding through preseason. Wittgenstein proposed that some concepts hold together through family resemblances, overlapping similarities with no single essential thread running through every case. Within Plato's framework, the every and only standard is non-negotiable. Genuine knowledge must be as precise as knowing what makes a triangle a triangle. Wittgenstein saw that very demand as one of philosophy's deepest errors. This tension remains unresolved. Whether or not Socrates' demand is always reasonable, the tool he built reshaped Western thought. His every and only standard became the ancestor of necessary and sufficient condition analysis, the backbone of analytic philosophy, formal logic, mathematics, and legal reasoning. Every time someone says that's necessary but not sufficient, they wield a Socratic instrument forged in this dialogue. Meno's case is also a parable about education. Gorgias placed speech in the service of power, win the argument, sway the crowd, never mind whether you're right. Plato sought to place power in the service of truth. That tension, rhetoric versus philosophy, eloquence versus genuine knowledge, is not ancient history. It's the argument we still have about education, media literacy, and the gap between sounding like an expert and being one. Meno was not unintelligent. He was miseducated, trained by one of Greece's most celebrated teachers in a method that produced confident ignorance. The Meno never resolves its central question. Virtue remains undefined, a deliberate Platonic choice. The dialogue doesn't deliver the answer. It teaches you to recognize when you don't have one. And that recognition, understanding that you don't yet know, is the beginning of genuine inquiry, not its failure. Next time someone asks, what is X? And you reach for a list of examples, pause. Ask what all those examples share, what single property they have and nothing else possesses. That pause, that refusal to mistake a list for a definition, is where philosophy begins.